And we're live, baby. Bestball Barbecue, day number 14, I believe. 14 consecutive streams, consecutive drafts. And today marks the start of guest week on Bestball Barbecue. We're going to have a guest every single day. This week is the plan. We have 3 lined up for sure. We'll probably filter in Bindles and Bestball Guy in there somewhere as well. But we have very special guests today, Matt Babich. We're going to be doing a Bestball Mania stream. I'm going to draft the team. He's going to draft a team. It's going to be an absolute blast. And that's coming up right after we hit the intro.
Everything to start. Let's go. Let's go out. Let's go.
And we're back from the intro. I saw you smiling during that intro.
I loved it.
I know you like that, right? I had one before that. My friend made me this one, which is 10 times better than the one I made because he's a video genius. But everybody, welcome in Matt. He's the number one JJ McCarthy hater on the internet. That's 100% confirmed. He's one half of the Dynasty Roundtable, which you can catch on Wednesday nights, I believe, at 7 o'clock Central.
You got it.
There we go. So go watch that. That'll be you guys. I'm guessing you guys have a show this week, so make sure you go check that out. But Matt, how are we doing today, baby?
Doing great. I've been, admiring your podcasting journey for a while now. I appreciate the grind that you've been putting in. It's been pretty sick to see, the growth that you've been able to achieve so far. And so, when you asked me to come on, I hit your DMs super quick and was like, let's make it happen. So I'm ready to go. I got a beer. I got some pineapple for a snack. I got, the extra TV over here playing some playoff basketball and playoff hockey. It couldn't be a better day to draft a best ball team.
Well, there we go. Let's just hop into it right now then. Are you ready to go?
Yeah. Let me pull up my tab.
All right.
All right.
Ready?
Give me a little 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1, go. 8 people. Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
It's always sucks when it's like you're the 12th person in and you're trying to get some people in the draft. But if you guys are waiting, come hop in here. We're Bestball Mania. Today, no puppy, no chihuahua. I actually just maxed the chihuahua today, which I was happy about. Happy to get those shares in. The puppy will feel a little bit slower. But yeah, Matt, you're a noted hockey fan. Probably one of the only like player profiler, big hockey. I feel like you're the hockey guy to go to at Player Profiler 100%.
That's absolutely true. I'm absolutely the hockey guy at Player Profiler. Not even really joking. Like I actually don't know really anybody else that I can really have like a in-depth hockey conversation with, but I try and plug it every chance I get.
100%, dude. I'm like from Minnesota, and I like my hockey knowledge should be a lot better than it currently is. Like I only thing I keep seeing is that, like these stars, like the Bruins and the Florida guys, just keep getting fights. And then I saw McDavid just get absolutely leveled yesterday.
Florida, so Florida is the bad boy Pistons of the NHL right now.
I like that comp.
They are incredibly talented, and they're also just the biggest assholes. They will, they'll hit you when you're down. They'll get a few extra punches in. They really just get under your skin and rely on just kind of being pricks and getting you going in that way, getting you off your game. But that's why that series is kind of heating up. Boston's a physical team too that's kind of trying to save themselves. But you don't have to. You got a few more years before the Wild are competitive. So you have some time to kind of build up that knowledge. All you need to know is Kirill Kaprizov is that guy.
I have a Kirill Kaprizov jersey. I've never been to a NHL Wild game. Never been to a Wild game before. I've been to a Gopher hockey game. I don't think so. I went to University of Minnesota Duluth. So I went to a couple of those. Obviously, we were kind of the Alabama of college hockey there for a little bit. Back to back national champions. Got robbed of a three-peat because of COVID. So we definitely would have three-peated that year. But I mean, the 5 OT game was my junior year of college against North Dakota. If you remember that, went to 5 overtimes. Like, just it was an insane game. Like we were up to like 1 a.m. until that game ended. So that was a really fun game. We're waiting on one person in here, but how many have you? I saw you did a was it a BBM entry you did on Player Profile today on Saturday? I was in there for a little bit.
Oh yeah. I did. I kind of thought it was a good time to kind of talk about rookies and best ball, and I'm not as inventive as you doing your whole NBA NFL lineup episode, but figured I'd get a little inventive with what I do, and so decided to do like a little best ball entry, which it was a weird team, but I did want to talk about some of the elements with you today because we'll kind of, I'm sure we'll get to him when he gets to ADP, but is Kirk Cousins going to be one of your highest exposed quarterbacks, especially you being a Falcons fan?
No, I'm actually pretty good about my my fandom when it comes to drafting players. Like obviously I'll have some Atlanta. I'm not out in Atlanta whatsoever, but like I'm not like overdrafting Drake London or Bijan or Kirk. If there's one Falcons player I'm overdrafting right now, it's Mooney. I just think he's priced a little too low for me, but that's
Right.
obviously like follow the barrel. He just feels like he's gonna be locked into wide receiver too. Also, too, for just so you know, you're at the 103. We have Anthony at the 104. Hit him with the gritty at 105. I'm at the 106, and then we have Godzilla at the 107. So all of us, because like we got Godzilla right here is in here. Hit him with the gritty on the chat, but he's obviously in this lobby. Anthony's in here too. So make sure you don't give away any strategy because it's all of us back to back to back to back. Just letting you know.
All right. Well, I'll try and I'll try and not have too much table talk here, but
you take 103. Talk to me about like because this wide receiver tier here. I had to get everyone's input on it, especially new guests we have on the channel. But it's like Chase, Hill, and Jefferson and Lamb. Do you prefer? You obviously prefer Chase over Hill and Jefferson. Can I get an explanation on why?
In best ball, I just want to get. I honestly want it to be I want it to shake out about as evenly as I possibly can. Like maybe I prefer Chase a little bit. I'll probably want to have just a little bit more exposure on Chase because of that historic year over year. It's so tough to be that wide receiver one consecutive seasons. And if there's anybody who can do it, it's CeeDee Lamb in practically the exact same situation he was in last year. But I think Joe Burrow coming back finally, just kind of having a season of health underneath him. I'm betting on Jamar Chase to kind of come back and be the Jamar Chase that we saw early on in his career. And like I said, I'm kind of making it pretty even. Like I have shares of Tyreek, Jamar, and CeeDee. I think at this point, just because of attainability, I'm more exposed to Chase and Tyreek Hill. But I'm trying to get CeeDee in there as well. Kind of out on Jefferson. I don't think he's going to be in that top 3 in terms of best ball value because I don't think the Minnesota Vikings pass volume is going to be where it's been in previous seasons. And so I think there is a tier gap there because of the quarterback. And Tyreek and Jamar in Cincinnati are incredibly stackable and have other elements to that offense that I actually want a share of. And so that kind of drives the decision as well.
Yeah, I agree with you on the Vikings thing with Jefferson. Jefferson's like my favorite player out of that tier. And I agree with you. The pass volume is not going to be there, but I think the pass volume affects Addison, Hawkinson when he comes back. And this like they literally don't have a wide receiver 3. Like Brandon Powell is literally still their wide receiver 3 in Minnesota. Like Osborne's gone. So I just feel like that like JJ, I think is still going to get his. I think that when it comes to the targets and the volume and the attempts, it's going to impact Addison more than anybody, which is why I kind of been on Addison. But I think JJ is still going to get his. I think KOC is going to force feed the hell out of him. Also, too, just a little quick hockey check. We got some hockey dudes in the chat. We have a shout out hockey LOL. Never played hockey, but competitive broomball. So this guy knows a lot about what's going on the ice. And then Randall says I like air hockey. So we do have some hockey heads in the
little bit, yeah. Yeah, I think to round out that conversation, I just don't think I think Cincinnati, Miami, and Dallas will probably see the red zone maybe twice as much as the Vikings this season. And so I do love Jefferson, and like in seasonal and best ball, I'm definitely okay with drafting him. I just think he is in a different tier than those 3 just because of the types of targets they're going to be seeing. Like they're going to have more red zone targets than Justin Jefferson for sure by the end of the season.
Yeah, and this is okay. I want to get your take on this because this is everyone's. We'll probably get your take on it in 2 picks here, but like the round 2 wide receivers, like the 2-3 turn boys, Like it is such. It's who do you like? There's so many guys that just go like you can make a case for Olave, you can make a case for Debo. I took Mike Evans there. Usually I go Olave. I just want to switch it up. I don't think I have a lot of Atlanta Tampa Bay thing, but yeah.
Did anyone in the chat take Devontae Adams? Because you can. You can do some bad things to yourself.
Yeah, Godzilla took Devontae Adams.
That's what you did to me.
Yeah, that's tough.
I'm gonna take Olave just for honestly, mostly for exposure purposes. I've been avoiding him at cost, so dip in a little bit. I see no reason why Olave should ever go in front of Devontae Adams.
I agree.
Did we not just see what happened to Michael Pittman? Like, you guys realize we're going to see the exact same thing with Devontae Adams, right? And he's coming off of 3 or 4 straight top 5 receiver seasons with a 1 and 2 finish in there somewhere. Like, you could, if you're picking at the top end of the second round and want to take Devontae Adams, I'm okay with it. Like, I truly think this ceiling is there for him to finish closer to that top tier. And so I am all in on Devontae Adams at cost. I'm kind of fading. What are you thinking about Garrett Wilson at cost? Because 10 right there it's really early for him to be going that way. It feels like he hasn't quite really proven anything just yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's where he was going last year. So I think it's just, we still haven't seen him with Rodgers. And I think that's why the market is so excited, because it's like, hopefully we finally get some good quarterback play for that poor man. But I don't mind it. I take Garrett Wilson there. I'll sprinkle in AJ Brown there. I'm kind of out on Puka on cost. I just feel like Cooper.
I agree.
Yeah, I just feel like Cooper Kupp could just be the leader in that.
He's jumped the shark. I much rather prefer Cooper Kupp.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I'm thinking Debo here. Nice little value on him. I was thinking about him last round. I think we're gonna go Debo here. We'll value hound this thing up. We'll scoop it up. I like it.
I do love Bijan at cost as well. Like, I've been taking a good amount of Bijan because he could just be that game-breaking 24. You know what blew my mind? Excuse me, doing some research. Bijan's role last year was not as bad as we all thought it was. He was 10th in weighted opportunities per game with over 15, which is a significant amount of weighted opportunities per game. This is per Roto Underworld. And that felt so disappointing to all of us because of how good this guy is, because of the Falcons offense. And so think about him in that Dalvin Cook role with Kirk Cousins, who, by the way, finished in the top 3 in 2 separate seasons in weighted opportunities per game. So Bijan Robinson could absolutely break fantasy football next year. So definitely trying to get a lot of exposure to him.
Yeah, Bijan's gonna have one of these crazy seasons. He's just too good where they drafted him. He flashed the talent last year. You just couldn't really put it all together, I think why people were in uproar about it, right, is you see how many carries Algier was getting, Cordero was involved, and you see Jonnu Smith getting jet sweeps at the goal line, and Bijan didn't even touch the ball. It's stuff like that really pissed everybody off. I think it's the opportunities around the goal line. I think his red zone carries was 2, or his inside the 5 carries or inside the 10 carries 2 or 3 last year. I think that's why everyone was pissed about he didn't really score that many touchdowns last year. It felt like, as compared to what he should have had, maybe. But yeah, Toronto Dave does keep back on the hockey thing. He's Toronto Dave's probably from Toronto. I played hockey growing up. Don't really keep up with it now, aside from perennial Leafs devastation.
Yeah. Oh, brother, I really am sorry for you for what it's worth. I can't stand the Bruins. They shouldn't be as good as they are, but shout out to Toronto Dave. Pour one out for the Leafs fans that
Yeah, literally, right? That sucks, man. Also, you're a Stars fan, right? Or you're a Blackhawks fan?
There you go. I will root for the Stars in non-Blackhawk situations until they're good. My fiance is a huge Stars fan. I live in the city. I live just a few miles from the arena, and they're incredible, so they're very fun to watch. But no, diehard Blackhawks through and through. If it ever comes to where Dallas's success is a negative on Chicago, then it's all the way screw you guys.
That's good.
So I bleed red and black, but I'll root for Dallas on the side since I live here and everything.
There we go. Vapes in the chat says Brees went 111 my draft. Not to me. Never to me. Yeah, Brees is someone like a guy you can get like the 1-9, 110 sometimes, which just feels like an absolute steal. I think it's kind of a toss up for me between Brees and Bijan. I'll probably lean Bijan every time because of the Falcons fandom. I'm on the clock here. What are we
Yeah,
thinking?
absolutely.
Question.
Catherine, what are you doing?
I love T. I like Dell. This is gonna be one of those ones where I just I think we're gonna go. God, I can't decide. I'm gonna go T. Higgins. Every season that T. Higgins, every season T.
He
Higgins
wasn't gonna make
and
it.
Joe Burrow have they've both been healthy the entire season. T. Higgins has been a top 13. I think it's like 2 of the 4 seasons they played together that's happened. Where like if they stay healthy, T. Higgins has been a top 13 receiver. I think he was wide receiver 12, wide receiver 13 in both of those years. Like getting him as the wide receiver 26. Like I'll take the injury discount. Like just he didn't do it last year, but like he's more than capable of doing it this year. Still a contract year for him. So I'm still in on T. Higgins. I do like Dell though, just because he costs the least, and CJ Stroud every chance he gets just talks about Tank Dell. He's like, yeah, my dream offense. I want Devontae Adams. I want Justin Jefferson. I want all these Hall of Fame offensive linemen. I want Jameer Gibbs in the backfield, but I want Tank Dell as my slot. Like that's just a narrative that I will 100% buy into. So
yeah, I mean, we look at Higgins, who, let's see, last year was 40th and then 26 and 12. So, only one top 12 finish, only one top 24 finish in fantasy points per game. But in best ball, you got to wonder too, if he gets the Jerry Jeudy treatment in Denver, where like he's being force fed targets because of the fact that they're trying to get rid of him.
mm-hmm.
Like, showing off your shiny toy to see. Here's the biggest thing I ponder in these drafts. I'm going to quickly just pivot off that topic. Like, do you take Joe Burrow here, which is what, like nearly 20 picks ahead of ADP, or just let the A-list stack just kind of burn?
I think in a contest like this, now I'll say Joe Burrow might be on my radar on the way back around because I have T. Higgins, but like I feel like a contest like this where like someone's gonna have that Joe Burrow in round 6 on the way back around. So it's just like it's not to say you can't take him. It's just like someone's gonna have a player at round 5 here, and someone else is gonna have him in round 6. So it's like it's almost like you're giving up some ADP value, which is I guess the end of the world. At least you get the stacks, you hit on some later round picks. It's not going to matter too much, but we'll have to see what I'm looking. I'm looking at
20 rounds is a lot, is too much.
Yeah.
Like if it's a little over a round, I can get over it. Especially if I feel like that drafter is going to, that player is going to start increasing in value. Cause that kind of changes things as well. But yeah, 20 picks is just too early. I got to take the risk. I know he's probably not going to come back to me, but I have left myself with some options to where I don't necessarily need to stack Jamar Chase. Now, if I got T. Higgins with the other pick, I may be more convinced to just go for it, since I have that triple stack that is kind of hard to acquire. Not a lot of teams have that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was kind of hoping you would just say do it, so I would do it. But yeah, 9 times out of 10, like I always just kind of stay put.
Yeah,
and then see if something can come back to me.
So two things. Speaking of quarterbacks, let's hit Kazi's comment first. Which QB will have the better fantasy season, Burrow, Kyler, or Love? Obviously, Burrow's priced higher, but I think Kyler has that. I still like Burrow, man. If he just stays healthy, like he's just going to be a stud. Like he has those boom weeks because he has Chase, he has Higgins, he still has all the weapons kind of around him in that offense. They just beefed up the O-line even more, drafted Mims in the first round. But Kyler,
got rid of their running back, their long-term veteran running back. Like I think he is much closer to 2022 Joe Burrow than any other season. I'll put it that way. Like I think he's a top 4 quarterback.
Yeah, I totally agree. Also speaking about quarterbacks, this drafter from the 2 slot here going double quarterback in rounds 4 and 5, going Stroud and Mahomes. Obviously, he has a little Houston with Diggs, so that drafter gets the stack there. but obviously looking for a KC, maybe a Marquise or Rashee
Mhm.
Rice, who has been falling down the board. So Rashee Rice is a lot more appealing to me in a format like this where, maybe he only gets, it's not looking, it's a different story every day with that guy. It's just, you never know. Like next thing you know, a story's gonna come out and he just he I don't even know, just like he got into another fight with somebody or like he stole some crabs from a restaurant. Shout out Jameis Winston or something like
Oh
that. But
no.
I don't know. But like what if he only gets like 2 to 3 games? It's probably gonna be more than that, but like what like
I think it's
never know.
I think it's gonna be 6 to 8, but I don't think it's gonna be
Mhm.
more than 8.
Yeah.
So
And,
like
and and that's the thing too. Like if it is 6 to 8, does his ADP go even lower, or is it like already baked into his ADP that he's gonna get 6 to 8? So it's a really interesting value game with Rashee Rice, in my opinion.
yeah, I think it'll go down. I think it'll probably considerably go down if he's missing 6 to 8 because it's going to be because this is going to strike a lot of fear, like just getting zeros from him for 6 to 8 weeks. But I think it'll probably settle a little bit higher than the Valley. Like Valley will probably come 2 to 3 days after the official news, and then people are going to start buying at that price, and it's going to kind of slowly sift up. Yeah, baby. Alvin Kamara. That is one of my favorite RBs at value though.
Dude, like I've been drafting. I just can't, like, he's looking at me in the face. This dude was the wide receiver or running back, excuse me. I should know this off the top of my head because I look at it every time I draft him. But in fantasy points per game, half point PPR. I'm in weeks 13 through 17 because we were talking about Demarcus Robinson on last night's stream. But in average points per game, Alvin Kamara was the running back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The running back 6 in average points per game and half point PPR. Like, and his role is what? The exact same. And you probably get a better play caller from Clint Kubiak coming over from San Francisco, where they kind of established the run. Yes, Kendre Miller is there, but I don't think he's going to take away, like, Kendre Miller is not going to be like a 40% like snap share kind of guy. I just don't see. Kamara's the guy, man. Like, it's the last year of his contract. They're trying to win games. Their cap is terrible. Like, they're going to try and win. I don't know if they're going to be able to, but I just feel like Kamara's like, it's Kamara and it's Olave, and like what you have Shaheed for an occasional deep threat. Like, they got no playmakers in this offense. It's got to be Kamara.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he by far led all running backs in terms of weighted opportunities last year, and I think if Kendre Miller was prepared to take a significant share of that last year, he would have done it already before the year ended. That being said, Miller did have a really slow start to the season, missed a lot of valuable time in mini camp and things like that. But it was very clear, like the Saints needed Alvin Kamara and those dump downs to move the chains. He had 75 receptions last year. Yeah, when have we ever seen a running back catch 75 yards, missing 4 games? Was it 2 or 4?
I think it was 4.
I think it was 4.
It was 3 or 4. Yeah.
Somewhere 2 to 4 games, missing 2 to 4 games, 75 receptions. And we're just going to sit here and act like it didn't fucking happen.
Yeah. He missed 3 games. 3 games. 3-game suspension to start the season. Insane. So I'm gonna keep drafting the hell out of him. Also, too, I don't know if you're a stock guy. Bestball guy's in here, one of our favorite guests and staples of the show. GameStop's up to 100%. Our time to get back in. Are you buying in on GameStop? Are you in the stock market streets? Or not at all?
No, I started seeing things that like GameStop was coming back now that what's that dude's name that was a part of the dumb money thing, but like he's back apparently, and now like GameStop's becoming a buy. I don't know. I really enjoyed that saga. I won't participate, but a buddy of mine made tens of thousands of dollars on GameStop the last time around. So we'll see what happens. Were you like were you trying to get Najee there or something?
No, I just don't see. I was really excited I could get Rome Odunze at what we got 13 picks past ADP. I mean, I'm not a big. I mean, like I should go Chris Godwin for the stack, but I was thinking, I just like Odunze. Like I always like kind of one of my favorite just rules of thumb for drafting in these underdog streets is let me just get the guy in the offense, like like especially with like Houston. There's Diggs and Collins. They go in like kind of that 2-3 turn. And then Dell goes a full round later. DJ Moore and Keenan Allen kind of go similar to each other. And Dunze goes a full round later. Like Keenan Allen, dude, like he's what, 31? something like that. 31 years old, like just coming off an injury. Like he seems like he's a hamstring, just like always gets hurt like every season. Like I don't know. I do think there's something to be said for that rookie connection. Like Caleb Williams and Adunze could kind of be the Stroud and Dell from last year. A lot different prices, obviously, but I don't know. I'll bet on the talent, which a lot of people love Adunze. Some people had as their wide receiver 2 in the class. Some people had them as his wide receiver 1. So I'm in on Adunze, especially a full round past ADP. I'll take the chance there. And also too, I want to get your thoughts on just like the elite tight end is kind of a thing that's been taken over the best ball streets. I get like Andrews is one of my favorite targets in these drafts right now. 5th round Andrews just feels like stealing, considering we've seen him finish as a tight end 1 overall before in his career. Best Ball guy had a really good point. It's Roaring Kitty. That's the Twitter account that came back today. Was Roaring Kitty for the GameStop stuff. But Best Ball guy said it nicely, where if Andrews doesn't get hurt on that hip drop tackle from last year, like I feel like Andrews' value is a lot higher because he would have had a higher finish. People wouldn't be as down on him because he's, Andrews been injury played a couple of seasons. I don't know. I just think this is a high upside game, and Andrews has, I would say, more upside than a lot of the other tight ends, kind of in this range, especially since we've just seen it from him before. He's literally the wide receiver 1 in that Baltimore offense that took a step forward in terms of passing, with Monken as the OC away from that Greg Roman, 14 personnel. So
no, I love Andrews at ADP. I love investing in the Baltimore Ravens offense. It's very affordable. Even Zay Flowers at like wide receiver 25 ADP is something I can get behind. So, and yeah, I'm in on the strategy as well, just because I'm so in on Kyler Murray at cost that like being able to start your draft with 3 elite wide receivers, a hero RB, and then the option to stack Trey McBride and Kyler Murray is something I really like, especially because of the value on late QB. So like if you can get like a Burrow Tua or a Murray Tua, a Murray Lawrence, if you can get like a top 8 quarterback and then like another top 15 quarterback, I really think you're truly. I feel like I said something that you yeah.
I was eyeing up Chris Godwin, man. He was
okay.
I was thinking about him last round. I love
Chris Godwin. How is he still on the board? Wait, what?
This is what 20
Underdog. Throw out this draft. There's collusion. There's collusion. There's collusion going on, and you need to stop this right now.
It lines up perfectly with Tampa Bay.
75. That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh my God, come on down. I was thinking about him last round, and
then you get Baker for this stack, and it's just it's Jover.
Oh my God, it's Jover.
It's Jover.
I need your opinion. So Christian Watson was a stand that I took early, kind of in the pre-draft process. I've come around a little bit on it because I realized Christian Watson could be a guy that kills you, maybe in week 17, week 16, if you don't have him and he has 25 points, then you're just like effed overall. But what are your overall thoughts about Christian Watson? I know he was a big talking point of last year's show on a Dynasty Roundtable. Seems like you guys are a little more in on him this year, but what are your thoughts about Christian Watson for 2024?
Oh, Christian Watson.
Watson. What did I say? Did I say that?
Chris Godwin.
No, sorry, Christian Watson.
So as I sweat out what I do for this pick,
make your pick first. Make your pick first.
So this is a tough pick because I only have 1 running back. So the potential of Jonathan Brooks hitting the pup is not one I love, but at the same time, I just love what he has to offer, and I love the opportunity share that he's going to have in this offense. So I'm going to take Jonathan Brooks. I like James Conner. I just don't think that he sustains his opportunity share this year. Last year, they didn't have anybody behind him to take work or to give work to. Trey Benson is that guy. Much of why I don't like James Conner at cost is why I don't like Josh Jacobs at cost. Like I think Marshawn Lloyd kind of comes in and does a similar thing where he takes kind of an unsustainable year-over-year share and kind of lowers it. It's a shorter-term contract where the Packers are going to want to get their value out of their money. So it's not like a rookie contract where, oh my Lord, you really just take Zach Moss? There's no fucking way you just did that to me.
This is a wild card drafter, man. He got this draft when Stroud and Mahomes didn't get any.
It was 4 picks after ADP, so I can't hate on you too much.
Yeah.
But what the fuck, dude?
No. The thing about Mahomes, if you don't get any of the KC guys that go in that range, you're looking at like CEH, Jared Wiley, Mecole Hardman, like to get any sort of a stack, because Pacheco's already gone. All the receivers are usually already gone. So if you missed out on Rice, that last kind of the last man standing for the KC stack, like you gotta just go either roll with naked Mahomes, or you're like, you know what, maybe Jared Wiley's the truth or something like that.
This is horseshit, because this just completely screws up the next part of my draft, because I either have to pivot off my strategy to make a stack work, and then my receivers are going to be fucked, or I'm cursing a lot. Is this okay? Like,
100%, dude. We curse all the time, dude. Do not worry.
But yeah, that just really kind of throws off my mojo. I should have, like, for stack purposes, I should have taken Zach Moss instead of Jonathan Brooks. I was pretty confident he would come back around, but I think a 65% opportunity share with Jonathan Brooks in this back half of the season on a Carolina offense that I kind of think is being underrated. I think that was a fine pick. I think you were sweating it out, but I think it's a fine pick.
Yeah.
I think Jonathan Brooks can be one of those guys where it's like, oh, Jonathan Brooks was valued at RB28, and he ended the last 8 weeks of the season as RB7. And he's just one of those guys that just clicks. He's the only rookie running back that's truly set to potentially take on like a rookie Josh Jacobs type, year where he just took all of the carries that were available. Chuba stinks. Look, I loved Chuba, and I loved him at cost last year with what was going on, but he stinks. Miles Sanders stinks. I think someone said he was going to be selling, I don't know who it was, might have been you, but someone said he was going to sell used cars. It was Cody Carpentier. He said he's going to be selling used cars. So yeah, I think Jonathan Brooks is a huge value. Zach Moss, though, like, what do you think about Zach Moss inside the top 30 RBs, but the starter in Cincinnati?
No, I like Moss. I think I like him more than Brown. Brown, feels kind of more like that change of pace back, explosive plays, but I just feel like Brown's not a guy who's gonna command a ton of carries week in and week out. Like I don't think he's gonna be the goal line back necessarily. I think it's gonna be more Zach Moss's role. And Zach Moss was a stud last year, man, in Indianapolis. Like I didn't draft a lot of Zach Moss at all, because I saw what he did in Buffalo, lost his job to Singletary, like just didn't really ever show that much juice. But then he goes to Indianapolis, and he there was like 4 weeks there where like maybe they're just easing JT back in, but like he was like out producing JT with like the same amount of carries. So I think
he looked great.
Yeah, I think he definitely plays in a contest like this where you can get him, in that 8th, 9th round, that 8-9 turn area. But there's one thing I want to talk. Yeah, my Purdy pick. I was looking at Purdy and I was looking at Benson. I saw Ross say Connor. The only reason I'm out on Connor a little bit is because he could just get hurt and then he's dead, because Benson's gonna steal his job after he gets hurt, I feel like. And even then, Benson could just, even if Connor stays healthy, Benson could just take his job down the stretch. Like, and we're concerned about is 15, 16, 17 in a format like this. So like, especially a guy down the stretch, I just feel like Connor could lose some of that work, which really scares me. And I'm going to draft my just absolute, Samuel's fallen, but I like this running back right here. Dude, I just think Brian Robinson is, I cannot stop drafting, because you look at Cliff Kingsbury and you look at the way they use running backs in Arizona. When they had Connor and they had they had Connor and they had Edmonds. They kind of just used them like you would expect them to be used. Connor was the goal line back. He was going to get, maybe 15-ish carries a game, maybe a couple of receptions here and there. And then Chase Edmonds, change of pace, going to catch a lot more balls, a lot more third down work. But give me the goal line back in the 10th round, Brian Robinson, just probably going to be the starting running back. Had a lot of good games last year with even with Gibson in the backfield, but Gibson's not. I don't know. We've been waiting on a Gibson breakout for 4 years now, going into year 4 on the Gibson hype train. I think B-Rob's a good pick, especially as my RB3 in this offense. I don't have any Washington, but
sorry, what?
What?
He's not a Gibby's not on the Commanders.
No, I'm just saying like I just don't think Gibson's that good.
Oh,
So I was just saying like he was good last year, but it wasn't that impressive because Gibson's not that good. But yeah, Eckler, who do you think's better right now, Eckler or Gibson?
Gibson for sure.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, I don't know. I'm not convinced Eckler was playing on a healthy ankle like really at all last season. I'm not like I really don't think he was.
Eckler and Gibson go like back to back with each other. Like they literally, I mean, he went a little higher here to Godzilla drafted him, but usually they go like pretty much they have like the same ADP. So I just always click Robinson over Eckler because Eckler, yeah, he scored touchdowns with the Chargers, but with B-Rob there, I don't think that he's going to be that goal line kind of back. That's not how Kingsbury ever used Edmonds. Edmonds never really got a lot of, goal line carries when he was in Arizona. So I think it's just like, it's like the Arthur Smith thing where like Arthur Smith, Tyler Algier, big back, he gets goal line touches. Bijan, fast, we throw him ball. Like I think that's how Cliff Kingsbury sees it too, where it's just like, we're going to use these guys. Like we're going to use the big guy on the goal line. We're going to use the electric guy, elusive guy in the passing game. Okay.
But is Brian Robinson less explosive right now than Austin Eckler? Like, I don't think we know that. Like, I could honestly see Austin Eckler being more of the third, like long down and distance, 2-minute drill, change of pace guy that they use sparingly, like knowing he's a 30-year-old veteran that doesn't have a lot of wheels. Like this is a guy who's been have like a Brian Robinson alongside of him for years. So I think there's some room for them both to kind of thrive, especially like I could see Eckler just getting the same opportunity share as Gibson last year. And that puts Robinson sitting at about 60% of the opportunity again next year. That's going to be top 20. And he's an effective route runner or effective pass catcher. I mean, he was 5th among running backs in yards per route run last year, 1st in yards per reception, 7th in catch rate. This is a guy who, despite what your analytics said about him coming into the draft, he's produced. And he's a badass too. I mean, he got shot in the ass. Like that guy in The Sopranos. Like he came back and had a really good season. He had 22nd in fantasy points per game. So I love Brian Robinson and where he's going. That being said, I also like Antonio Gibson really and where he's going with his projected volume. He's basically free. And then quick comment again to the guy who took Zach Moss. You made look at Gabe Davis right there. Look at what you made me do that. You made me do that. There has been nobody that has made me done that ever. And I had to do that because of you.
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Nobody.
And then Chase Brown went the pick after. So like obviously I knew that that wasn't going to happen, but
yeah. All right, I want to check in on the everyone's teams real quick. We always like to do this. So we got Godzilla right here starting Puka, Devontae, Cooper Kupp, Kelsey, Worthy, McLaurin, Deontay. So 6 receivers in the first 7 rounds with Kelsey. Doesn't get Mahomes, but catching up at running back with Mostert, Eckler, Edwards, and Corum. Not a terrible running back committee there. I kind of like it. If you're going to go 0 RB to start, that's not a terrible for running back, especially when we've seen a guy like Mostert produce. We'll skip my team for now. Let's go to hit him with the gritty, everyone's favorite drafter. JJ, Ayuk, Henry, Pickens. I mean, this is literally a hit him with the gritty team. Najee Harris, who he stole from me in that video. Ramondre, Anthony Richardson, Njoku, Javonte, Freiermuth, Justin Herbert. Javonte has kind of been the talk on Twitter a couple of days. It's the coach speak with Sean Payton. He mentioned Jaleel McLaughlin today. He mentioned Blake Watson. Do you think Javonte's in trouble, or are you just not even paying attention to it?
Yeah, I think Javonte's in trouble.
Okay.
I don't understand why a lot of people aren't like pointing to the 4th round pick for it, though. You bitch. You're an absolute bitch.
I wanted to.
You have to. I mean, he's so far past ADP.
And I have New Orleans too. I have. Kamara.
No, yeah, I'm not. Like, dude. I just knew you were gonna do it, and it was just gonna pay me to watch you do it.
Oh, I'll leave you my king then. We'll see if you draft my king. Because I almost took him here.
What, Dontavian Wicks or
no,
Darnell Mooney? Because we've talked about him.
It's not Mooney. It's the one of the rookie receivers on the board right here. I'll let you guess which one.
I know it's not Xavier Legette. Like I know that's not what you're about to tell me.
I have like 33% Xavier Legette.
Shut the fuck up. Why? You have 20 seconds to convince me.
Dude, I just telling you, man. Like, you don't have to draft him, but
You're just telling me. Like that's
okay.
all we got.
I've done this rant like 5 times, but I'll do it again. You look at let's just start with the production in the senior year. I get the red flags are the fact that he didn't produce for 4 years. That's the big thing. He's like 23 years old.
Why not?
Like,
let's do it.
Let's go, Matt.
Why not?
Dude, you look at who he outproduced last year, and like he outproduced in terms of like just overall production last year. Marvin Harrison, he outproduced. He outproduced Brian Thomas. He outproduced like your favorite, like every receiver, like Ricky Pearsall, Keon Coleman, all the guys who Lad McConkey, he outproduced Adonai Mitchell, he outproduced Xavier Worthy, he outproduced, I'm trying to remember all the other guys. The only 2 he didn't outproduce in this class, there's 3 guys. Neighbors, Adunze, and Troy Franklin are the only 3 receivers ahead of him that he didn't outproduce. He has the size, he has the speed. At the very least, he's like Gabe Davis. Like at his absolute floor, he's a big, fast guy. That's the absolute floor, and he goes after Gabe Davis. So, but like his ceiling is the number 1 wide receiver in this offense. He's a deep threat. He can win you a week. Like he has that size, speed, adjusted type of just like package to his game, and everyone wants to compare him to Mingo. He's not Jonathan Mingo. We did the breakdown yesterday. Jonathan Mingo had like 700 or 800 yards in his final season at Ole Miss. Xavier Legette had like 1,400 yards last season, and it was a legit producer in the SEC. Like I'm gonna keep drafting that guy until the chickens come home to roost, and I just don't know how I leave without Baker Mayfield here with my Tampa Bay thing going on. I feel good about my running backs. We have Mark Andrews. We have a ton of wide receivers. I think I just have to go Baker Mayfield here.
Do you think I fucked up with Kendre Miller instead of Kimani Vidal there?
No, I think Kendre Miller has more upside. I like Kendre Miller, man. I liked him last year because I think he was like my most drafted player pre-draft. I just love the profile. But if anything happens to come, like I draft Kendre and Kamara, not on the same team, but I'll draft them both because I think if Kamara goes down, and Kamara's getting a little older, and we've seen him
exactly
with injuries. So like, I mean,
it's all about making bets, right? And if you're not going to make the bet on Kamara being it, if he's not on your team, then you might as well take the bet on him being dust and see if she, hold on. I feel like my dog's up to no good.
No, you're good.
Well, she jumped onto me and like her tail was like a little wet. So I was like, okay, are you just messing around or did you just piss somewhere?
Yeah. Anthony's a Panthers fan. I know it's not Xavier Legette.
Look, I've actually seen some more positive, like people are talking pretty positively about him now that he's, he's in rookie mini camps and stuff like that, running out there on the field. What was the dodgeball reference? I don't think I caught it.
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Nobody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right after I talked about Chase Brown.
Yeah.
It's an interesting alley of running backs here, though, because you have it's a whole row of people that I never know who to make the bet on, but I have a feeling deep down in my gut that one of them is going to pay off in massive dividends. And I'll tell you what, if we're going to talk about irresponsible exposures, do you want to guess what running back in this range I have way too many of?
Given your talk about and Gibson, I think it's in your Patriots fandom. I'm going to guess Gibson here.
I'll tell you. No. It's in this like. Oh, Gibson is in this ADP range. Okay, sorry. I thought he was a couple rounds later.
No, you're good. Who is it?
I have 42% J.K. Dobbins.
Okay, sell me on Dobbins because I've been scared to draft him, but it's a guy I feel like you have to have. So sell me on Dobbins why you like him so much.
So for me, the bet is this: if Dobbins stays healthy for a majority of the season, and including the fantasy playoffs, which I get is not necessarily the best bet to make, but you're drafting him at RB50, and he is going into a Greg Roman. He's literally staying with Greg Roman in a Greg Roman offense that just got one of the best tackle prospects this year, probably the best, and has a stable quarterback situation in Justin Herbert that's going to keep defenses honest, even though he has subpar receivers. I mean, if he stays healthy, it's 220 carries.
Okay.
And he's going to be like, oh, holy shit. Like this year's Kyron Williams was just J.K. Dobbins. Like who would have thought that his knee and leg would have held up for a season? So it's gonna cool down. I'm not gonna have 42% Dobbins when it's all said and done, but I will be overexposed in terms of the average to J.K. Dobbins just because at RB50, oh man, that bet can pay off in huge dividends.
Mooney goes there. I don't draft a lot of Pearsall. I don't like the situation. They run. I think they were in the most 12 personnel in the league last year, and that's gonna leave Pearsall off the field. But with my San Francisco stack, I do have Brock. I have Debo. I'd like to get another piece in this offense, and 19 picks past ADP. I think I have to click the button on Pearsall. Like again,
absolutely.
Yeah,
you could have said the same thing about Devontae Wicks there, and I would have been.
Yeah.
But when you play best ball as much as you do, though, like it makes sense to just take values like that, right? Because that's creating,
especially in Best Ball Mania,
you're creating uniqueness. So like not many people are going to have Dontavian Wicks 20 picks after ADP, and even if you don't have Jordan Love, can't necessarily shy away from that.
On the clock.
Oh my God! I thought Jermaine Burton was gone. I was going to puke.
Oh, there we go. He's Seth's guy. Is he your guy too?
He's incredible. So he's going to be starting for this team, a team that ran, I think it was the third most 11 personnel in the league last year. So they're running out 3 wide receiver sets like it's nobody's business. And Jermaine Burton from the film side of things really impresses. There's at Jetpack Galileo, like the astronomer, spelled like the astronomer. Him and Matt Harmon are the only 2 wide receiver film guys I go to outside of myself for a lot of things. And they are both incredibly high on Jermaine Burton. I actually have Jermaine Burton searched up with this guy's film on my computer right now.
There we
go. Do I go running back? I don't think so. There's not a lot of time left. I'm running out of time.
You don't like Cuba. Dontavian Wicks, man. You only see me 7 wide receivers.
No, that was stupid. No.
Bro, you get him like that. He's you get him like 30 picks past ADP almost 28 picks.
That is kind of crazy, but
yeah, that is good. Yeah.
I don't know. I favorited Tyler Conklin, and then when 5 seconds are on the clock, like I just start hitting buttons and then just pray I don't regret the decision afterwards. But like I was looking at you're probably going to be happy hitting the button on Kate Otten here, right? Or Bucky Irving. Somebody.
I'm gonna go Buck, dude. I just think Kate Otten fucking sucks.
No, I don't blame you. Like that's why I completely skipped over him at ADP. Yeah. I favorited Tyler Conklin, and I hate Juwan Johnson at ADP too. So Tyler Conklin and Jonnu Smith are my 2 most highly exposed tight ends. Because wow, holy shit, I had 57% Jonnu Smith.
Oh, dude, you're a Jonnu Smith truther as well. Let's fucking go.
Why wouldn't I be? He was incredibly effective for the Falcons, so much so that they were drawing up plays for him and not Kyle Pitts. And now he steps into a Dolphins offense that again was like looking for a 3rd wide receiver all last year. They didn't spend any capital until Malik Washington in the 6th. So they're pretty much most heavily invested in Jonnu Smith as their next pass catcher. I love the Jonnu Smith. At tight end 21, like he's the perfect tight end in best ball because you're either pairing him in the late rounds with an elite tight end, or he's smack dab in the middle of like a 3 tight end build where he just offers so much week to week upside.
I'm so glad you're on the Jonnu Smith train because the thing with him too is like he's not going to route you up. He's not going to command a ton of targets a game, but like in the Miami offense where their entire fucking scheme is designed around, deep crossers, short drags, get the ball in his hands and let him use his yards after the catch kind of ability. Like he gets the ball in his hands. He's an absolute athlete. We saw him take like a 75-yard screen, a tight end screen pass, a tunnel screen to the house last year for Atlanta. Like this guy is a legit athlete in an offense that's predicated around speed. Like you got to worry about Tyreek, you got to worry about Waddle, but like Jonnu Smith running underneath routes, like I just think like he just has the ability to, bust off a 40-yard touchdown or something like that. So also, too, I want to touch on Dobbins again real quick. It's funny that Gus Edwards is going above Dobbins when Edwards was always like Dobbins is like backup, which is it's kind of funny to me. So I think there's a scenario where like like Greg Roman's like, oh yeah, Dobbins is still our guy. Like he's the starter. Like it's not Gus Edwards because he's been the backup for Dobbins for his entire career while they played together. So I think that's an interesting kind of element to it too.
I agree. I kind of want to get my exposure out of the way because I do think he will start to creep up once the health is more known, the health and roll are more known. So as training camp kind of keeps coming on, I think he's one of the guys. I think that ADP corrects over the summer, and then I can guarantee you once it does flip, I'm going to start drafting a little bit more Gus Edwards.
Yeah, I can't decide if I go Carr here. If I try and push him, I really don't want to lose out on Carr. I'm gonna
just take him.
He's the only guy. I mean, it's in this round.
This is a situation where you just do it.
Yeah, because there's not a lot of quarterbacks left. I mean, after that, I had no stacks left with any of my guys.
You could honestly ruin your entire lineup if you got too cute there. So earlier on, when you have so many outs and ways to pivot, it makes less sense. But here with a Carr situation where like a major piece of your build is kind of funked up now. The interesting question is, see, now we have Chuba Hubbard nearly 30 picks past ADP, and I have Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah, see,
I don't even know if I can partake in this at this point. Like, even if it's 30 picks past ADP, it's unique, but for what?
I think Jaleel McLaughlin's a really nice pick right now.
Exactly who I'm taking.
Yep.
Haven't been super in on him, but like I've started to hear the drum beat, right? And whether it's gonna leak into the summer or not, when the drum beat starts happening on some of these guys, even if it's just from a few bigger analysts, I start paying attention. And even if I don't really like a Jaleel McLaughlin in the 16th round, I'm gonna start getting exposure, because then what happens when the summer comes around and he starts getting some press pieces? Now all of a sudden he's RB, 49, like ahead of 167 ADP of Chuba Hubbard, and it becomes a lot tougher to take him. So drafting early, I don't like to draft pre-draft for best ball, but now that the draft is over is when I like to draft. I'm willing to forego the reward of predicting ADPs before the landing spots come in draft capital. But that being said, because if I would have drafted pre-draft, I'd be sitting here going like, I have 35% Troy Franklin. I want to kill myself.
Yeah, literally, right? I think I had a ton of how much. No, now you say that. Let's see how much Troy Franklin I did that pre-draft, because it definitely was not a small bag. Let's see.
All right, I might as well just take
17%
right now, right? Like,
just do it, man. Like usually you're not supposed to handcuff like that, but when it's the 17th round and like
30 picks past ADP,
yeah, just do it, man. Just do it. Because there's a scenario where the handcuff does pay out, but it's like, and there's certain backfields. Like I think you'd be fine doing both the Detroit guys in the backfield because they could both go off in the same week, or they could flip flop weeks. I want to get to Godzilla's comment right here. Tyler and Matt, who do you think has a better chance of becoming a starter due to injury or sucky production, Khalil Herbert or Braylon Allen? I'll let you take that one because I'm going to make my pick here. Oh my God, we get into the best player in the draft. Here we go.
I think it's probably Khalil Herbert. That's tough because Khalil Herbert I don't necessarily think is locked in to be the starter if Swift goes down. I think Roshan Johnson going into year 2 can take some steps. And Braylon Allen, he is the RB2, but Breece Hall is a tank, and I know what happened to him. Like, he did have a torn ACL. I don't see this as a guy we're going to bet on getting injured, because he didn't really have a lick of scratches on him. Like, he was hardly ever held out of practice for injury, never really missed snaps for injury. All coming off, a 10-month recovery of the ACL. So I think he's a pretty sturdy guy.
Plus, there's a ton of other running backs too. Like you got Isaiah Davis, who's like a name. You got Abanikanda from last year. Like he's supposed to beat out like 2 other guys.
Yeah, he does. So I will say Khalil Herbert just because I think it's the best answer to the question.
Yeah,
but I don't love Khalil Herbert because of his one-dimensional.
Yeah, I agree.
He's one-dimensional.
Yeah.
Khalil Herbert either.
Phil, we've been, Phil, we've been going back and forth on the Dobbins thing, but let's wrap it up with this comment because we talked about this on I know I talked about this on the Dynasty
Yeah,
Warzone
absolutely.
a couple weeks ago, but like, yeah, he got no guaranteed money. So like, and it took him a while to sign too, which scares me. Like, he visited with the Chiefs, he visited with I think a couple other teams too, and like no one wanted to sign him, and then he eventually ends up with Roman. Like, they can cut him for 50K or 500K or whatever it is. Like, they can just get rid of him at no cost and just like then like that's why I think like Vidal's a name you have to kind of keep in mind too, because he is like he could just if they cut Dobbins and like which they 100% can, Vidal is going to get a huge boost. And you're going to be pissed that you weren't taking him earlier when he was like pretty much free in like the 12th, 13th, 14th, whatever. Where did he go in this draft? He went. Let's see here. Vidal.
14th.
14th round. Yep.
Beginning of the 14th.
Yeah. So, all right, I got my last pick coming up here. 3-5-7-2. We're done at tight end. No offense, the best tight end in this draft. Let's see here. Who do I want to go next? Probably a receiver. Finish out with 8.
I do love the Noah Fant pick for what it's worth.
I mean, Noah Fant's gonna be my most drafted player. I've never been a Noah Fant guy, so it's not take clock, and I've said that a ton. But like, this is the first year I've been in on Noah Fant, which makes me happy because maybe this will be the year like I just get it right. Okay, who do I have? Anyone I could stack up late? Like Jawan Jennings, probably not. Tampa Bay guy. Is McMillan still there? Yeah, we'll go McMillan for a Tampa Bay thing. I like McMillan. I drafted a lot of Palmer with Baker too, so let's go McMillan this draft. A guy that I loved coming out because he doubled up all the stats on Jalen Polk, his not this past season, but the season before, he literally doubled up Jalen Polk in every statistical category, and he was right there with Rome Odunze in terms of he actually led the team, I think, in catches or touchdown catches, one of the two. Like, he was literally like the 1B to Odunze's 1A that 2022 season. So I'm really big on McMillan. Let's see if he can kind of put it together in Tampa Bay. I think Trey Palmer's a nice player too. He had some usable weeks last year, so he'll have to beat out him. But I do like McMillan in the 18th here.
No, I love it too, especially just with the God bless you, freaking beautiful puppy. You're annoying. No, I completely agree, especially just given the fact that it's a Tampa Bay stack. I think I like getting a little bit of exposure to a lot of rookies there, just because there are going to be ones that break out that we're not necessarily expecting. So. And by the way, I do completely agree with the J.K. Dobbins stuff. That's why he's definitely not going to end up at 42%. I've just kind of started my best ball journey, so it's really not out of that many drafts. And I do think his value will go up marginally over the summer. It's a bet I'm taking. But yeah, just as easily as J.K. Dobbins could be the biggest winner in best ball drafts, he could also be cut before my birthday in August and make me look like an absolute fool. Love getting Gesicki there at the end of the draft. I'm not convinced on Eric all, pun intended.
That's fair. Hey, let's break down our teams. We'll start with you since you are the guest. So run us through the roster here and give us a 1 to 10 rating. 10 being this is literally $1.5 million. It's just a matter of when it hits my account, and a 1 being like, I wish I could get those 45 minutes back.
I'm gonna go with a 7. I'm gonna go with a 7. Like, okay. I think it's probably one of the better teams I've drafted in terms of structure and value. I think it does take on a little bit more risk than I usually go with, but if I hit on a guy like Leggett or Brian Thomas Jr., especially stacked with the Jacksonville offense, if Kendre Miller, if that bet proves out to be solid, or Jaleel McLaughlin, like, I think this team has a lot of upside, but it's also a lot of risk, and not necessarily a lineup you're going to stare at in May and say like, yeah, that's a winner. But I think I made some good bets. I think I kind of maneuvered with the draft about as well as I could. Running back core is a little weak, but if we can get Jonathan Brooks to not go on the pup, which I don't think he will, for what it's worth, and we can get Jaylen Warren in his role from last year, and then we can get one of these late round guys just to kind of pop up for us every few weeks, then I think this team can make a little bit of noise.
I absolutely love your receivers here. I love the fact that you have 3 Gabe Davises with Brian Thomas, Gabe Davis, and Xavier.
Someone's catching a 20-yard touchdown
every
Who's
week.
gonna be?
Exactly. So I like the Jacksonville receivers you got with Thomas and Gabe with stacked up with T-Law. I like the fact that you obviously have Burrow, Chase, Burden, and Gesicki. Like, this is just a classic PBM team, right? Like, you could get lucky with some of these running backs. McLaughlin's it's a name that a lot of sharp people are kind of on. Miller has that handcuff upside. Warren, we'll see. He'll probably be used like Bijan was last year, which is actually good considering Warren's going in like the 9th this year, or like maybe like the 7th, and Bijan was going in the 1st last year. So it's a constant thing there. But I do like the team. So I'm a fan of the team. I like the Jacksonville thing. And just like Waddle's a great pick. I think Olave is a good pick too. And then you obviously have Jamar as well. So let's go to my team. Obviously, a little weak at quarterback. Obviously, we have Purdy, who actually was pretty good last year, but Purdy, Baker, and Derek Carr, nothing really that excites you in terms of rushing upside with this core. But you know what? Well, hopefully one of these guys just, they alternate weeks, just, putting up 25 points. Love our running back room. Tajay Spears is a certified my guy. Love Kamara, Bijan, B-Rob, obviously, and Bucky Irving. We'll see if he can, create some explosive plays in the passing game. That kind of feels like his role. We have and then just the value we got in these receivers, like the value we got on Doomsday, the value we got on Godwin,
Rashid Shaheed, Pearsall.
Like we got so much value
nuts.
on these receivers. So I'm happy about it. It was a fun draft for him. So we got Evans, Debo, T. Higgins at Doomsday, Godwin, Shaheed, Pearsall, McMillan, and then our tight ends I absolutely love too with Andrews and Fant. A lot of NFC, it feels like a lot of NFC on this team. Couple AFC guys, but a lot of NFC. All of our stacked quarterbacks are NFC. The only AFC guys we have are Tajay Spears and Mark Andrews, and T. Higgins. But yeah, so
I wanted to do this last year, and I'm gonna die. I ended up trying to start my research like way too late into the season, to the point where like finishing it and getting an article out the season would have already started and it would have been pointless. But I want to look through like the previous BBM data and take a look at like division stacks. So like if you can identify 2 teams within a division that's going to score a lot of points, like is that going to be an edge? Like is getting Tampa Bay versus New Orleans twice a year like going to be an edge? Like was getting Dallas and Philadelphia, a couple of years ago, like or even last year maybe, like was that an edge? So I love the NFC South stack. I won't go out. I won't seek it out, try and purposely do it. But if it flows the way it kind of did for you, then I'm all down to give it a try. And I think it's a really interesting strategy to take like a New Orleans and a Tampa Bay and invest heavily in them, especially in BBM, where these kind of unique stacks and value plays can matter so much.
Yeah, one thing about Bestball guy said this, and it's a really good point. Like I think the dome factor should not be overlooked, especially when we're thinking about week 17, week 16.
Yeah.
Remember, like Dallas Detroit last year was a game that won that. I always forget the guy who won it last year, but it won him a ton of money. He had CD. That CD Amon-Ra stack was huge. It was a thing that you could get at the 1-2. If you had the 12th pick last year, you could get CD and Amon-Ra very, very easily.
I had so much CD and Amon-Ra.
Exactly, and it paid off for you because it was a dome game, 2 high scoring offenses. So it was a really good just kind of week 17 game stack. And I think one thing with this NFC South thing that's going on, 2 of the teams playing inside, which is huge for week 17, and the other 2 play in warm weather. So you're not going to like get killed when it's like a maybe like an AFC East stack where it's like we got Buffalo, you got New England, you got New York. Like you get some cold weather games, NFC North or something like that. So I think the NFC South is kind of a fun team to stack up, just because the elements shouldn't play that much of a factor in weeks 15, 16, 17 when it's colder up in the northern states and everything. And 2, NFC South has bad defenses. Exactly. So there we go. All right, that's going to conclude our stream today. Matt, tell the people where they can find you, what you got going on.
So you can find me on Twitter at Babich_Matt10, BABICH_MATT10, in case you needed that spelled for you. Tyler hit the nail on the head. Man, this beer is really getting to me.
Buddy's hammered.
Buddy's fucked up over there. You can find me on Twitter at Babich_Matt10. You can find me on the Roto Underworld podcast feed and YouTube Wednesday nights on Player Profiler YouTube channel, 7 p.m. Dynasty Roundtable podcast. My co-host Seth Dewald and I break down all things Dynasty Fantasy Football. We go 24/7. We're going weekly, year round, and then you can also find me on Player Profiler today. So if you tuned in to Tyler's episode of Player Profiler today, then you know exactly where to find me. Same channel, Player Profiler News, or the Profiler_NFL Twitter. Saturdays at 6 p.m. I am the Saturday host of Player Profiler today. You can find me there as well.
There we go. Yeah, definitely. If any of you guys play Dynasty, which I know a lot of you do, make sure you go check out the Dynasty Roundtable on Wednesday nights. I've been on that show multiple times. I have a blast every time I do it. Really sharp guys when it's talking Dynasty, a lot sharper than I am in the Dynasty street. So best ball is more my lane. I'll talk Dynasty every now and again, but those guys are super smart. So go.
We should have you back on for like a Dynasty Best Ball episode.
Oh yeah. Gabe Davis, stock up, Dynasty Best Ball.
Xavier,
like it, stock up. So
very true.
Yeah, all right, guys. We'll be back tomorrow night. Just stay tuned on the Twitter. I'll drop the time there. Never have an exact time, and it is guest week. I actually don't. One of to tomorrow is one of the days I don't have a guest lined up yet. I have a guest lined up for Thursday and Friday. I need to fill Tuesday and Wednesday. Best Ball guy can hopefully help me out with that, or Bindles, hopefully there too. But there will be a guest tomorrow. I'm committed to this being guest week, so we will have a guest tomorrow, but I don't know who it is, so I can't even tease it if I wanted to. And I will not tell you who I have Thursday or Friday. People who have not been on the channel before, so that'll be fun. But Matt, thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you. I hope you have a good night. Watch some playoff hockey, some playoff basketball. We got a lot of this. This is like the best time for sports, so I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you for having me on. This was a blast.